Our next speaker is Kerry Kunz, CEO of Atlantica Tender Drilling. Kerry has more than 30 years' experience from the oil and gas industry, including 26 years with Neighbors International, where he worked in several different countries before becoming Vice President of International Offshore Operations. In 2007, he was one of the founders of Atlantica and has been the President and CEO of the company since. Over this period, Atlantica has grown from being just a rig concept into a 4-rig operation with more than 300 employees worldwide. Kerry, look forward to getting your story.
Thank you for the introduction. I'd like to also thank High Tech Vision and ONS for giving me the opportunity to speak about this growth story, Atlantica. We'll go through it. It casts over a period of 7 years, and hopefully I'll give you an overview of how we move through that. First of all, I want to talk about what is the tender assist market. It's got a strange name, this tender assist. It's not a commodity market, but I think it deserves some explaining. The history, I'll give you a timeline of what we've done with this company since inception, what was successful, hurdles along the way. That's really another word for what didn't work so well. Challenges, where are we going from here? So a little bit about the tender assist market. What do we do? What type of sector is this? It's not a jackup, it's not a drill ship, it's not a semi. So what do we do? We come up with a vessel alongside an operator's facility, be it a platform or be it a TLP or be it a spar, but there has to be a facility that the operator has. And just for the benefit of the prior speaker, most of them are very unstandardized, okay? They're all different. In any case, the vessel comes alongside and then we erect what we call a mast equipment package. Others call it a derrick equipment set onto the platform. Most of these platforms are all multi-well platforms, various number of wells on the platforms, different sizes. They all are similar in the fact that they all have surface BOPs. We drill with surface BOPs, and they have surface wellheads. The tender itself, the vessel itself, is really a support facility for the drilling. It supports the drilling. The unique part is the modular equipment that we erect onto the platform, onto the operator's platform. It bears weight on the platform. So during the drilling phase, the vessel supports the accommodation for the people, the power generation, the mud process, the bulk, the third party, etc. What we put up on the platform, or the facility, or the TLP, or the spar, is really just the mast equipment package, the minimal amount of equipment, the idea being that we want to bear as little on the platform, weight on the platform as possible. In our business, weight is everything. We do exploration drilling. We do development drilling, we don't do exploration drilling, pardon me. We're not exposed to the swings in the exploration market. Most of these projects are envisioned years in advance, and that's what we do. Again, we do deep water and we do shallow water. I'll show you a couple of examples in a minute. Barges do the shallow water, of course, and then our sector has moved out into the deep water along TLPs and spars, doing deep water with a hull shape of a semi-submersible to contend with the more challenging conditions. Cost efficient for operators. Our primary competitor in our business is a large integrated platform rig. The difference being, in a large integrated platform rig, you need a huge structure to support that rig, that amount of weight. You have people living on the platform, which is not really what you want today. We have people well off on the vessel. But we bear a considerable amount less weight than the platform rig. So that's really our competition. In some of the shallow water markets, we do compete against jackups to some degree, but generally we can go on beyond the water depths of jackups. We drill in water depths from 50 to 200 meters with the shallow water, the barge units, and there is no water depth limitation on the semis, the tender semis in the deep water, because we use pre-laid mooring. The markets, traditionally the markets have been established being Southeast Asia and West Africa, 70% in Southeast Asia and the remaining 30% in West Africa. Equatorial waters traditionally plus or minus 10 degrees either side of the equator. That changed with the movement of deep water development and the tender semi. We've moved well beyond this. There's emerging markets now. Brazil, clearly. We put the first semi-tender into Brazil early this year. The first TLP went into Brazil. There's another competitors unit that's in the Caribbean. We believe the North Sea is a prospect. A little more challenging in some cases, but we believe that's a prospect. So this, the traditional geographic regions are set to change in our market. So just to give you an example, an illustration of what's what when I talk about it. This is the first unit, the Alpha. It was delivered in 2010. It's been working ever since in West Africa. Again, fairly calm waters. The tender support vessel, as I mentioned, that's just the vessel, housing what I mentioned earlier. It also supports the modular package when you're moving between platforms. The mast equipment package, that's the modular equipment that's built, it's erected by the crane on the vessel, and we're independent of the platform in this case. We drill multiple wells, we move around, and then we disassemble and put everything back onto the tender support vessel, this being the client's platform. So that's what's what in the shallow water market. Now an example of the deep water market. This is an artist's impression of the Beta. It's a semi-tender. This is the unit that went into Brazil. Again, the same basic concept, only you're using a semi-hull, and generally the platforms that we're going onto, in this case the TLP, is somewhat more sophisticated. So the tender support vessel itself, that's what we have here. Again, housing the consumables, the personnel, the power generation. The main crane is used to erect the modular package on the operator's platform. You have a personnel transfer bridge between the two for your personnel to go back and forth. And then you have your electrical and fluid umbilicals that run between. And that's the only connection. Those three, the umbilicals and the gangway, can be retracted and pulled if you need to pull away from the facility in an emergency, or in any case, bad weather. That's what you can move away from. And then on the TLP, again, the mast equipment package, and surrounded by on this case, the gray structure, which is the client's platform. So we generally have an area that we can work within. It's within the well bay, and again, drilling multiple wells. So a little bit about the timeline of the growth of the company. It was originally established in 2007 by a group of founders, myself and Erland Basso, hence the name Bass Drill. It was first put as that. We developed the design of the vessel, the Alpha. We raised a bit of money. We started the vessel construction in early 2008. Along the way, as we were building the Alpha, we got an opportunity with Petrobras to put the first semi-tender into Brazil. We bid competitively against others, and in 2010 we found out we had the contract. Between then and 2012, there was a significant change. We needed a significant amount of capital at that point, and High-Tech Vision bought into Bass Drill. They bought in, they injected capital, they took the majority share, and it was certainly required at that point, given the amount of capital we needed to develop the company. Shortly after High-Tech Vision bought in, we also changed the name of the company from Bass Drill to Atlantica. We also bid on a very unique tender, which was Total for West Africa. And this was what they called a competitive call for tender, where we had to design the perfect mast equipment package to fit a very unstandardized TLP that they were developing, very different than the prior one. We competed, and we were successful in gaining that contract, and hence then we bid on it, and we started building it in 2013. 2014 saw the mobilization of the Beta, which again was the first semi-tender into Brazil, going up against the first TLP in Brazil. So that's the basic development. I missed the Gamma. The Gamma was again a barge. We started building that in 2012, and it's due for deployment early next year. So what worked? Well, we found a funder to begin with, Erland Bassa, who believed in the concept, believed what we wanted to do with this company. And it's very important that you have someone share in your belief. You've heard the term surround yourself by good people. That was certainly true in my case. I took a number of colleagues with me when I departed. They believed in what we were doing. They wanted an opportunity to put what they knew into a company, and we formed a small group. There was 4 of us, essentially, that started this company. Bringing something new to the market. I think it's important to bring something new, not just try to replicate what others have done. In our case, we wanted to build a very light unit, and we wanted to have some unique characteristics on the vessel, which we did. It should be said that you can't go to one supplier and get a tender assist vessel and a drilling package. You have to go to generally multiple suppliers to get what you want. This is not something that's standardized and that NOV or Cameron sell off the market. So it takes a good bit of engineering in this business to get what you want. But it gives you the opportunity to put something in it, to be innovative and creative in it. Develop a QA and management system early. We started with a clean sheet of paper. We didn't start with a template. We basically started with nothing, and we built the management system and the QA system to comply with the requirements, but more so we built it to suit the worker in the field. It's very important, so they can use this to their advantage and not just for the compliance issue. And lastly, arrange financing early. That's quite important. People sleep at night much better if they have financing in place. We've done that successfully, and we intend to do it going forward. So we know what we did right, some of the things that we were challenged with. Timing. In this industry, timing is everything. We didn't get it right initially. We started in 2007. We ordered the Alpha in 2008. I think the price of oil was 147 at that point. It was within a week. And we know where it went to from there. The world fell off the edge. The Lehman Brothers collapsed, and nobody wanted to employ a drilling rig. We had a drilling rig, and we needed to get it to work, and that was more than a challenge. The elusive first contract, more difficult than what we thought. Our timing was not great initially, but getting that first contract was extremely difficult and time-consuming, and it's a credibility issue. They knew me, they knew some of the people. Did they know we could pull it together, get it off, deliver it, finance it, and operate it? Financing for a startup. Again, that was challenging, but again, we were challenged by time more than anything on that. Finding illiquid equity in a very soft market. We went out for a bond on the Alpha, a survival bond as I'll call it, and we went out for equity or bond. We got lots of bond, we got 0 equity at that time. That was late 2009. That was a challenge. So attracting rig crews again to a single startup company in a market that rig crews are moving all over the place was also a good challenge. We did get it. It's a lot easier today than it was, but with the first vessel it was a challenge. And then getting capital for further growth. And High-Tech Vision certainly plugged that hole when they came along. So our next market. There is further expansion in this market, both on the barge side and the semi side. There's still a lot of old vessels that need to go away. We intend to be there for that. But we think the North Sea is an interesting market. We know that there's been gangway-connected accommodation semis for a long time. It's been readily accepted. We do basically the same thing. The only difference is the erecting of the modular equipment package. You have to have a window for that. We've got more challenging mid-ocean conditions to contend with in the North Sea, of course. Have to pick the weather window for the assembly and disassembly. Mooring. You can moor. There are various different ways to moor, of course, right up through to full DP. But again, it's certainly possible. Concept for conveying the tubulars between the unit, the vessel, and the platform is another challenge. We do it successfully all over the world. The only difference in the North Sea is, again, you've got more challenging conditions. But on all these facilities, they're taking consumables off workboats. We see it as no different. Ability to disconnect in a hurry if a weather event happens or an event happens on the TLP or facility or platform. Right now, we need about 45 minutes to be able to pull away, pull the gangway, pull the umbilicals, and pull away on the winches. We believe we can even shorten that. The UK and Norwegian regulations, clearly that's a little more challenging. We need a different vessel. We need different regulations to comply with that. And then, of course, fitting into that in a new vessel would be more so the case than the existing vessels. We didn't build the existing vessels for this type of environment. They would have to be upgraded, they have to be larger. But we believe there's a number of opportunities in the North Sea for something like this as an alternative to a very large and heavy and integrated platform rig. So, thank you for your time, and I guess we have a few minutes for questions, Paul?
Yep. Do we have any questions from the audience? Sorry, any questions from the audience? Yes, at the back there. Can somebody please give him a microphone?
Until Atlantica came along, the tender market tended to be a bit monopolistic market, so you could have a very standard MEP, DES. Since then, there's every kind of DES around now. Do you see some way of getting back to a standard type MEP or DES to help get the cost down and follow up what your predecessor was talking about as far as containing costs?
That should be directed to the operators. Build a platform standard. Realistically, we have 4 vessels and we have 4 different MEPs. So that's an interesting question. We build the MEP for broad application, but in 2 cases here, for Brazil and for West Africa for the TLPs, we had to build them very specific. So to address your question, there's no argument that if the platforms, be it a fixed platform, a TLP or a spar, if they were fixed all the same, if they were standardized with their well-based centers and their capping beam centers, without question, you could standardize the MEP. There'd probably be a lot more tenders around today. If you could go to one supplier and buy this, probably be healthier competition in this sector. But without question, that could keep the cost down, because the capital cost would go down on what we deliver. No question.
Thank you for the questions. I think we're okay for time, so I have another question. I think the biggest miracle of your story is how an untried company, a new company, could get these huge orders from Petrobras and Total. Could you expand a little on how you went about to actually do that?
I think outside of luck, giving them the time. In our business, a little bit different than showing up and drilling a well independently. We need to go out and interface a lot with the operator. It's their real estate that we're going on to. The alarm systems have to be integrated. There's an awful lot more integration. There's a lot more engineering involved. It takes a lot more people. But I think giving the operators the time when they asked for it, initially up front, that worked certainly with Petrobras, giving them the time they needed and helping them design. This was their first TLP. It was their first tender assist. And then with Total, it was very much a competitive drive, a competitive call for tender, as I said. But listening to what the operator needs, and remember, we were developing it for their requirements. So I think to listen to them, to work with them, I think that was, to be truthful with you, the secret.
Okay. Okay, Kerry, thank you very much.